I do apologize. This week has been insane. I mean, everybody knows that Mercury was in retrograde, but it wasn't just that. My kid's been sick, I've been sick, so today I'm doing my video really late. I usually do it on Tuesday. Today is Friday. Sorry about it. Today's video is about managing anxiety, and I definitely dealt with it in this retrograde. It has been crazy, but let's go ahead and get to it, alright? So it's anxiety is the overwhelming fear surrounding certain thoughts, certain actions, and certain objects. So if you think about phobias, like agoraphobia, arachnophobia, anything like that, claustrophobia, those are all phobias, but the key thing that you got to remember about phobias is that they deal with fear, and fear is a big part of anxiety. So when you think of phobias, that's more cases of chronic anxiety, because when they deal with fear, they instantly have some sort of reaction dealing with anxiety. So and some people have it and it goes away, like it's seasonal, or some people have it and it's just social. Some people have it all around. But either way, anxiety is a chronic disorder. And whether you take meds or not, you take medicine or you take herbal remedies or you meditate or whatever you do, it has to do a lot with your habits and your sabotaging thoughts. They have a lot to do with why it's still there or the intensity of the actual anxiety itself. And like I said, a branch of anxiety that's very common is social anxiety. So you can have this by itself, or you can have it connected to other things like chronic. My anxiety has more to deal with internal, but I do have branches of social anxiety. Dealing with or what people think of me. It's a usual thing. Sometimes it's goes up and down, but anxiety, like other disorders, is exacerbated by stress. So regardless of anything else, any other kind of triggers, if you're stressed out and you have chronic anxiety in some sort of fashion, you're gonna have some kind of anxiety attack or panic attack, especially if it's a high amount of stress or a really traumatic event. Like, for example, a death in the family. You're gonna, because of your anxiety, especially if there's a trigger within that traumatic event, it's going to cause some sort of massive anxiety issue. Handling anxiety is a process. If you have been dealing with it for a long time, it's not going to go away overnight. So let's say you've been dealing with it for years. It's not going to go away in a couple weeks. It may take about as long as it's been going on. It may take longer. You never know. But as long as you start trying to handle your symptoms, that's all that matters. It's an inability to process stressors, especially when it comes to your triggers. And that's a big thing when it comes to handling anxiety, is knowing what you're anxious about, what makes you freak out, and identifying and being able to either get away from it or being able to handle it a little bit easier. Like for example, for a long time, my stressor was my kid, because I'm a new mom. When my kid first came out, I'm not a maternal person. For the first couple months, I did not have the maternal instinct, and it's still really rough on me, because I never was let's go, I always wanted to have a baby. I never wanted to have a baby, and it just happened. And I never I don't know what that was. I never had the maternal instinct, and for a while I was really anxious about that. Like, why don't I, react like, I see other moms react? And that, was one of my anxiety things. That was one of my stressors. But handling that is like accepting, a lot. So one of the best things you can do is accept any mistakes that happen along the process. You know, when you're a new mom, you do mistakes. You put the pamper on the wrong way, you feed the wrong way, you know, give her too much, you know, you give the kid too much to eat. You know, mistakes happen. And you accept the mistakes that you make, and you see the good things that you're doing in response to that trigger, and you congratulate yourself for what you've done. And like I said, fear is the core of anxiety. And a lot of people, you know, break it down into an acronym: false emotion appearing real. And most anxious feelings, you know, are really just like that. They are not based in reality. And when you connect more to the reality of your situation, your anxiety is going to go down very much. Your anxiety is going to go way down. One of the best things that you can have in your arsenal when you're trying to handle your anxiety and really attack it is a good support system. And one of the best people I have is my boyfriend. And I'll tell you why. When I have big anxiety issues, like I had a really big anxiety issue during the retrograde, you know, yesterday, the day before, that was the heaviest feeling of anxiety for me during this retrograde. I didn't feel it at all until, you know, the last couple days of it. And it was awesome that he was there, because I was able to at least vent and have him there and have him understand that this isn't, you know, me at my usual. I'm having an anxiety issue, and I'm really, you know, I'm needing you to be there. And it wasn't even a question. He was just there. And that's, you know, and love you. So that could be, you know, the support system could be a person, or it could be a group. It could be, you know, a village. It could be a person. So these people need to be committed to your safety, because anxiety does have really bad, you know, connotations to it. A lot of people that cut themselves do it because of anxiety issues. A lot of people that have eating disorders do it because of anxiety issues. A lot of people that have suicide attempts, or, you know, anything leading up to a suicide attempt, like a plan, they do it because of anxiety issues. So they need to be committed to your safety, and the safety that those that may be dependent on you, like children, pets, other people in the household that may be disabled, etc. If they have, see, now the only thing is, when it comes to a support system, if they have a history of being judgmental towards you, without cause, or unruly, not taking, or contributing to your anxiety, or not taking responsibility, or being understanding, they're not a good support system. And I hate to say that, because a lot of people, like even my boyfriend has contributed to my anxiety at times, but it was when he didn't know. If they know that you have anxiety issues and they don't even try to help you, they are not a support system. For example, some relatives I have depended on them before for anxiety issues, and I cannot depend on them because I realize that when I depend on them, or I even go to them, just not even for support, but just regular social issues, or just regular, you know, social gathering or whatever, it makes my anxiety worse. And that's when, you know, you need to really be able to identify, when you go to that person, what happens when you're around that person. Are you okay? Are you worse? Are you better? When I go around my boyfriend, I'm better. When I go around certain people, I get worse. I cut those people out of my life, because that's not helping my process. And anxiety, it is a chronic condition, and it has almost cost me my life twice. And I know that because of the things that I have in my life, I have to be here. And that is a definite issue. I'm not going to have, you know, somebody in my life that's going to risk my safety at all.